You let a bitch know. But you let a bitch know in a way that's still fun.
Am I a joke to you?
Well done, mama.
Howdy gamers, welcome back. It's me, Miss Trish, and sorry for posting late this week. It was my birthday. None of you wished me happy birthday. I did get this sick gargoyle as a gift. His name is Emmett. He sits off to the side and he whispers things to me, like funny jokes for the video. So this will probably be a great video with Emmett's help. Also, I did pop off, I did snap, I did eat, and by that I mean I tied 2 scraps of fabric around myself and put on a funny hat. And hopefully that's like considered an outfit. I'm not Lux Noir London, so scraps of fabric on me do just look like scraps of fabric instead of sleigh. I'll work on that, I guess. I don't know how to fix that. But yeah, thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing. It'd be great if I could put myself through grad school through sitting alone in my apartment with huge breasts. That would be slay. That would be very progressive of you to allow me to do that. But yeah, without further ado, let's review Season 15, Episode 14 of the Rupaul. The episode starts with our girlies walking into the workroom, and we see, rest in peace, Miss Lucy LaDuca. And funnily enough, since Lucy is no longer here, the debrief at the beginning of this episode is so short, because it's like Lucy's not pouting, no one's attacking Lucy, she's simply gone. So now the queens are just kind of like, what do we do now? They kind of talk about how Lucy played a dirty game despite like truly doing nothing. Maybe dirty towards Lux, because I think in Untucked she was like, yeah, I picked you because you were really mean to me and I gave you like a teacher I thought you might not work well with. And like, is that really a dirty game? I don't know. I feel like it was well deserved given everything that was going on. But they debate about that. You know, even in death, Lucy is the drama. They give Anetra props for her 3 wins. I guess the distinction needs to be made her 3 Maxi challenge wins, because Lucy had 3 wins before anybody. And like really nothing else happens. I'm not kidding when I say like, I mean, it could just be because it's one of the later episodes and now like everyone's all friendly with each other, like, woo, Final Four, sisterhood, but like they're not, nothing really happens. And especially with Lucy gone. I still can't get over Lux's outfit. Like, I feel like when I saw it, the one she's wearing from last week, I feel like when I saw it, I was like, her mind is so powerful. Like, how did she construct this? It's crazy. And then like on further inspection, it truly is just like 3 scraps of fabric with 4 knots and like a belt. And I'm like, that is so sick and twisted. Like, it must be so fun to just be like young with abs. Like, she really pulled a fast one on me and I don't blame her. But like, it is 3 scraps of fabric. And I don't know. Iconic. She makes it look iconic. I eat it up every time. But yeah, nothing else really happens in the debrief. So, okay. So after cleaning away the mirror message, we see Rupaul enter and like the queens go bananas. And I always wondered, like, maybe this is a bit of a side tangent, but like, are they told by the producers to just like release a primal scream whenever Rupaul enters, or is that something that just kind of like happens when you're like in his presence? Because like, I kind of get it the first episode, but this is episode 14 and like Sasha Colby sounds like she's fighting for her life. Like, some of the screams are wrong. They're not like woo, it's like like help them. So I'm just curious, like, is that just like what they feel in the moment, or are they asked to just like give it all? Let me know. Willem, call me. But Rue explains that the final Maxi challenge is the season 15 remix of Blame It on the Edit, which again, I said this last episode, but this is one final psychic assault from Rupaul aimed at Miss Lucy LaDuca, because she is the girl that has blamed it on the edit and will blame it on the edit, and she is passed. She has passed on from this world, aka she just went home. But yeah, really sad to not see her here. And then he's also like, and there's an intergalactic theme to this for no reason, I guess. But that also made me be like, oh, where's Irene? Miss Irene the alien? They really like eliminate all the girlies who'd be perfect for this. I've always kind of wanted, like, I wish we could see all the girls in the music video. That'd be so cute, but I know that's probably a lot of editing. But it's just, they're one of my favorite episodes, and I always love seeing what each girl brings. But anyway, after that, like, all the girls seem pretty unbothered about the challenge. Like, there's not a lot of drama around, oh my god, I don't know how to do this, like, I'm gonna flop. Like, Sasha's like, I know people, places, and things, so I am not worried about writing lyrics. Lux is like, I write bitch tracks for a living. I'm so unbothered. And I was like, I believe you. Like, when you tell me you write bitch tracks, like, I believe you. And I was kind of wondering, like, is it like slay, or are we talking like Georges on Twitter, where, you know, if you follow Georges on Twitter, like, girly lets people have it and it's not proportional. They'll be like, oh, I don't like that outfit, or like, oh, that doesn't look like your best. And she's like, your mom's an alcoholic, you were a mistake, and you should get run over by a bus. That's kind of the energy I was getting from Lux in this moment, because she was really, really like hyping up how good she is at a bitch track. So I was very excited to see where that went. Another thing, I also really, what's the word? I identify with how Lux sits, because like, I'm not wearing pants, so I'm not gonna do it. TMI, I'm so sorry. But she like puts her foot up on the desk, and it's just like, I don't know, she's sitting like a crazy person. Like, her leg is like over her head and she's just like writing lyrics. That's me, baby. I got reprimanded at my last job because when I was doing office work, I'd have like my foot behind my head. I was like, it helps me think. And they're like, we can see your cooch. And I was like, eh. But no, it was probably good they reprimanded me. That wasn't good. But yeah, total tangent, but I'm really identifying with Lux this episode. And then finally, she goes to sleep on the couch. She's like, I wrote my bitch track, I'm done, I'm going to bed. Icon behavior. Like, the confidence is so real with Lux. Is it delusional sometimes? Absolutely. But like, she has really, like, what would this season be without Lux? I don't know. So like, go to bed, you earned it. I think that's also like especially incredible, knowing, because she's like the Drag Race historian, she knows that like famously anyone who ever goes to sleep gets like attacked by the edit. RuPaul might just come up to you, slap you, say, wake up, sweetie. You know, so like, that's a cursed couch. They put it there as a trap. Don't sleep on that couch. Something awful will happen to you. Except with Lux, apparently, because she was actually just like completely fine. But I was scared for her. I think they were kind of like trying to use this moment to set her up as like the girl who's going home, because no one else really gets like a lot of edit time at this point. Whew, sorry, I just sneezed like 800 times and now it looks like I've been crying, but I'm fine. But I could cry on command. RuPaul, take notes. But then after Lux goes to bed, it's revealed that the next activity for the day is the Tic Tac chit chat. I feel like this used to be called like the Tic Tac lunch, but the implications of that are probably not great. So love this new name, love the Tic Tac chit chat. And I also love it because I feel like this part of the show always, like, it's one of the most plain ways for the edit to reveal like who RuPaul is actually interested in and who he thinks is garbage. So like with some people, they'll get like 10 minutes of chatting and they'll talk about like really intense stuff. And then with others, they'll just be like, so what's your name again? Oh, do you think you're fierce? Like stuff like that. So I think it's a good way to judge like who could be the top two. And we start with Sasha, and Sasha didn't come to play. Sasha immediately starts discussing her inner saboteur, which like RuPaul, again, salivating, chomping at the bit, like he's ready. And Sasha also came prepped with some trauma, which was very real, and like, oh, I can't imagine being that vulnerable on like a platform like this. In some ways, I'm just like, I wonder how much they feel pressured to like reveal to get to the end, because I feel like there really is like, you do get rewarded for trauma dumping. I don't think that's a lie. I don't think that's a bad take. But like, I wonder, yeah, like how much of it is because they feel pressured, how much is because they want to, and think like the story will resonate with a lot of people. I personally actually really enjoyed Sasha's story. I kind of like resonated with the idea of like making meaning of life falling like a tragedy, stuff like that. I think she delivered it in a great way, and this was very much giving like top 2 Tic Tac chit chat. Like she got the most airtime, I would say. The topics were like very deep. RuPaul was engaged, and Rue's advice at the end was like comically bad. Like Sasha had just dumped some very serious stuff, and Rue's just like, well, make sure you let go of that, and Michelle's a pig. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's great. Yeah, let go of all that trauma. Just, but anyway, so next is my girl Anetra, and she immediately has like the most powerful yet succinct trauma dump where she's just like, yeah, I grew up Mormon, and I'm like, the girls who get it get it. The girls who know. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. And I feel like Rue and Michelle got that because Rue was like, "Bleh," and Michelle was like, "Ooh." So I think the girlies understood Anetra's story a bit there, and I was like, you've really been through it. So I'm rooting for my girl even more. And Michelle gives Anetra the recognition she deserves with her lip sync with Marcia, saying it's her favorite lip sync of all time. If you don't remember, that's the one where she free willied over Marcia. I don't know how you wouldn't remember, but just in case. And the funniest part of this to me, like, give Anetra her flowers, go ahead. But when Rue's like recounting it, I think he's like, oh, when you flipped over Marcia.
You flipped over Marcia.
Like, they had to cut in the audio later, and I feel like the only reason they would have to do that is because Rue forgot Marcia's name. Because the only part that sounds distorted is Marcia. So I wonder if he said like the wrong name or just like couldn't remember. I think that's so funny and very on brand for RuPaul, like who has famously forgotten like Jinx Monsoon's name while standing next to her. So I just thought that was funny. I'm always on the lookout for like what they're adding in. Those are some of my favorite moments, like when Trinity Tuck has that one confessional, like, these bitches are turning it out. So good. They can just, they're little puppets. They can just make them say whatever they want. What else? Oh yeah, Anetra also goes on to say like she learned her voguing from YouTube, which honestly shocked me because she's really good. And God, don't let Aja hear that. I mean, sure he did. Maybe she's unbothered. But like, I tried to teach myself how to twerk from YouTube, and I threw my back out so badly, I had to call in sick to work because I physically could not move. So Anetra's out here learning like how to be one of the best dancers in history that we've seen, and I can't even throw it back based on a YouTube video. So feeling really inadequate, but also feeling really proud of my best friend. And then finally, I love Anetra's answer to like, what would winning mean to you? Because Anetra just looks like right into RuPaul's eyes, and he's like, it would validate all the suffering I've been through in my life and just make it all feel worth it. Like, what do you say to that? Like, if RuPaul doesn't make her the winner, then it's just kind of like, go suffer some more, girlie, and then come back. I thought that was a very like sassy and good answer. Good job, Anetra. I felt like, and this is totally biased, you can't take anything I say for fact, but I feel like Anetra had the second best like Tic Tac chit chat. So I feel like it's gonna be like top 2 Sasha Anetra. Moving on to Mistress. Hers wasn't my fave. They talk about how she's kind of like so open with her thoughts, and Rue and Michelle are both like, oh, that's the healthiest way to exist. And I'm like, bzz. incorrect, disagree. I think it's healthy to know when not to bottle things up and to discuss things that are like on your mind. But Mistress is truly just like no filter, letting it all out. Like, no, there's a time, like, there's a time to know when you have to fight a battle or like pick your battle, when to just be quiet and like let things go. I don't know. Hard to disagree with some of the advice they're doling out during this chit chat. And then Rue, clearly bored, is digging for drama and brings up Lucy post-mortem. And they just kind of like dish about how Lucy's not even here. And they're just like, yeah, like Lucy was really fake off camera. And Rue's like, oh, that's an undercover bitch. And I'm like, oh my God, like they really hated her. That was just crazy to me. They spent so much of Mistress's time just talking about Lucy. And for what? Hi, this is probably extremely jarring, but I think Mistress and Lux heard me talking shit, and for some reason, the one clip where I was speaking about them became extremely corrupted, so I have to re-record it as I'm editing. And now I'm gonna be nicer, because clearly something happened in the spirit world, and Emmett couldn't protect me. But basically with Mistress, I feel like she spent a lot of time talking about Lucy. I don't think that really helped her, but also Rue was kind of steering the conversation in that way. So I don't think he was like as interested in Mistress as he was like a Sasha or an Anetra. They talk about Mistress's eras, and I'm just like, I'm over it. Stop, please stop. But I know this was recorded months ago, so she probably didn't realize how many times she said it. And she can't blame it on the edit. That's funny. And then moving on to Lux, I also found hers like kind of boring, and I also think Rue brings a really weird energy to everything, because he just like, every time he sees Lux, Rue's like, I want a baby so badly. I wish you were my baby. Please be my son. Like, it's weird. It's weird. And it's funny to me because it's like, I don't know how old Anetra is, but I know Mistress is like 24, which is like 1 year older than Lux. But whenever Rue is like interacting with Mistress, he's like, hi, old. But with Lux, he's like, my precious baby, my little child who's never done anything wrong. He's either gonna like adopt Lux, have a baby because of Lux, or like steal Lux's life energy. I'm not sure what the vibes are, but they are rancid to me. They talk a lot about Lux's confidence and where it comes from. You know, she had very supportive parents, and I did like hearing about that. You know, it's kind of nice to hear that her confidence comes from like really wanting to be a star and having that support behind her rather than like all delusion. I think delusion's a part of it, but like, yeah, it was kind of nice getting her backstory. But again, I don't think it was as deep as like an Anetra or Sasha. The best part for me, honestly, was like she had this really cute boy look that they flashed on screen. Lux has got some drip. Am I using that right? Let me know. But yeah, her interview was good too. They were actually all good. I know sometimes these Tic Tac chit chats, like literally Rue will just not be interested in the queen at all, and they'll have like 3 seconds of like, hi, nice to see you, and they're like, ugh, get out. So I feel like Rue is kind of interested in all of these top 4 people. I just kind of, Sasha for sure, I would say, is the number 1. And because of my like delusional standing, maybe that's why I put Anetra at number 2. I literally can't tell if I'm being like impartial or not. And then I would say Lux, then Mistress. Hopefully that was like nice enough that they won't send bad energy my way and corrupt this video file again. And yeah, those are my thoughts. I legitimately cannot stop sneezing. I must be allergic to big breasts and good outfits. So yeah. But anyway, the girlies are moving on to choreo. And based on what we've seen in previous episodes, I'm immediately worried for Anetra, and I'm immediately worried for Mistress. Mistress just like doesn't pick up choreo at all. Relatable, not coming for her. I truly don't understand how people pick up choreo. And Anetra despite being like a good dancer, also doesn't pick up choreo that well. This makes me think of like, not to talk about me, but I went to a Zumba class and I thought like they taught you the moves there. But you actually just have to like watch the dancer at the front, the teacher or whatever, and like copy them. And I like was breaking down in tears because they were moving so quickly and doing so many things, and like all the other wretched gays there knew exactly what to do. They were all wearing like matching headbands, and I was just in the back flopping. And I was like, you know what? You know, because I was so anxious, I was telling myself like, everyone's just trying to get a workout. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody sees you. Nobody's judging you. But then afterward, this man came up to me and was like, first time, huh? That was rough. And I was like, so true. And then I just went to the locker room and I like cried. I don't do Zumba anymore. So anyway, back to the girls. They all look incredible. Can you imagine if actual astronauts looked like that? I think that's the future of like exploring the stars. Not like finding aliens or like going further. I want to just see like fun astronaut outfits. Yeah, I would love to walk out on the moon looking like Sasha. And I don't know. Yeah, everything I said kind of happens. Mistress is struggling, and it kills me how Miguel is like trying to help Mistress, and then the camera's just like focused on Lux in the back, who's just snapping. Like, she knows the choreography, she's doing so well, and like she's totally pulling focus from Miguel because she's just slaying. And like Miguel stops helping Mistress and just like, wow, good job, Lux, like you're doing great. Like, just so funny that when Mistress needs help, Lux is like, but over here, look at this. So I was like, yeah, it's so true. And I'm also curious, like, how long the girls actually have to learn choreo. I feel like they make it look like 5 minutes, but then like there's never been a time where they've tried to pull this like high drama, like, oh my god, we're recording right after you have to do the choreo, where like it's actually been bad. So like, is that just because the girls have more time than we think, or is it because like the editing room just like, if you flop, they just cut 1,000,000 times so it looks like you did well? I don't know, I'm curious. But yeah, Lux is eating it up, Sasha's eating it up, and Anetra's struggling a bit, and Mistress is struggling a lot. Other funny moments, Lux loses a nail, and Michelle like proves why she belongs in this industry, because everyone's like frantically looking for Lux's white nail, which like blends in with the stage, and Michelle's like, open up your outfit, I bet it fell in your breasts, and like, it did. She just had like a sixth sense. Like, that is a girl who has been around drag queens and knows drag queens. Like, thumbs up, Michelle. Love to see it. And then Anetra has probably my favorite like moment of the episode. Of course, shut up, let me have this. Where like Sasha's performing and she's sitting on the side with Lux and she's just like, Sasha's so hot. Am I a lesbian? And it's so true. So true. Sasha is that level of hot where it's just like it transcends anything in your brain, and you're just like, well, of course I'm attracted to Sasha. So she's relatable. Everyone go stan Anetra or I'll cry. And the final funny thing in the choreo was just like, I don't think they meant to do this, but like Mistress is dancing and then the camera just cuts to Miguel and he looks like this, like so pissed, so pressed. Like, I don't know, I would just love to watch what learning choreo is actually like, because they make it look so high stress. But I guess after my Zumba incident, like, I believe that it was as horrible as it looked. So after the recording, the girls are back in the workroom and Mistress enters by screaming, "It's the end of an era." Is that true, Mistress? Because which era, girl? We're in like 500 of them right now. And don't get your hopes up, because she will continue telling you what era she's in despite saying it's the end of an era approximately 5 times. And again, I feel like I had to be real nitpicky because without Lucy, the girls had nothing to talk about. She was their everything. Like, they spent like 10 minutes talking about like, yeah, the choreo was tough. I didn't think I'd get it, but then I did. And then someone else responds by being like, it's funny you say that because the choreo was tough and I didn't think I'd get it, but I did. I was like, things are rough without Miss Lucy LaDuca to be like a victim. Who, you know, like the girls aren't bullying each other now, so we get nothing. And like Mistress tries to start some stuff, but like she asks like, what were your first impressions of each other? But everyone's like super complimentary. Like they're like, oh, Anetra, like you look like a bad bitch, and like even though you were shy, you're hilarious. And like Lux is like, oh my god, you were so quirky and charming. Sasha, they were like, oh my god, like you were so amazing. I expected you to be awful, but you were just incredible. And I mean, the only person that kind of blows up like in their faces for it is Mistress, who asked the question to begin with, and they're just like, yeah, you're kind of like obnoxious. Bleh. Which, okay. But no drama there either. It was like very, I don't know. I guess this is the part of the like season where the girls are friends and like I shouldn't be expecting them to kill each other. I also just like, this hasn't felt like a long season, but they did a cut when the girls were talking about the first impressions to like when they all first met. And I was like looking at some like these queens like, who are you? Who are you? Have you like Robin Fierce? I'm so sorry. I loved your 5 seconds of screen time, but like who are you? Princess Poppy, I had to look up her name. I forgot who that was. So I don't know. I feel bad for those girls who got eliminated before the transition back to longer episodes, because that is probably like the rawest deal in Drag Race history. You really just didn't get to know anything about them. What else? Yeah, Mistress enters her bitchy era, so we didn't even make it out of the workroom before we got a new era. And they also reflect back on all the past drama, all the gates they call it. What was it, like 40-inch gate, metal gate, baby bump gate, and there's one more, heaven gate, yeah. And they reflect back on those and like, who's been in all 4 of those? It's Lux. It's Lux. And like, I respect what Lux has brought to the season and think it would be so boring without her. But it is the most delusional thing in the world when she's like, I didn't provoke or escalate any of these. And I was like, girl, not only did you provoke, I think, every single one of these, you escalated them with fierceness, ferocity, I don't know, like, no, just own it. Just own that you were the escalator, girl. I loved it. I loved that you did that, but it is cuckoo bananas to think that she wasn't, like, these things are just happening around her, and it's just like a little coincidence that she was involved in all 4 of them. I don't believe it. I don't believe it, love. Hi, you might not recognize me without my hat, but I assure you it's still me. It's so hot in here. I'm dying, and I just needed a little bit more of my head to be free. But I will persevere, I will push on, and talk about this runway. So as Ru was far away, I was like, this is one of my favorite RuPaul looks ever. You look so good, sweetie. And then she got close, and I was like, uh-oh, stinky. I was like, why can't I see your panties? It kind of looks like a diaper. And speaking of poo-poo pee-pee, her little bustle on the side kind of looked like a colostomy bag. Like, am I the scat queen of the season? Maybe, but like, it wasn't big enough to read like bustle to me, and it wasn't like ribbony either. It kind of just looked like a colostomy bag, and I'm allowed to say that. Michelle was the judge that was eating it up, and Ross Matthews was there. Where's Carson? Why is Ross here? I don't know. I haven't liked him this season. I feel like Selena shares a lot of my thoughts. If you don't know that drama, I highly suggest Googling Selena and Ross Matthews. She uses a lot of words that I can't say on YouTube, so that's why I'm being vague, but she lets him have it. And yeah, the category for this runway is drag excellence, which really means whatever the hell they want it to. It's just kind of just like, show us anything. But like, all the girls kind of had a space motif, so I wonder, like, were they told something else other than drag excellence, or is that just like they're also just trying to match like the music video? I don't know how that works, but like they all wear a little spacey to me. Starting with Anetra, she looked incredible. I don't normally like the, I don't know what to call it, like almost like foam sculpted hair. But with her, I feel like it wasn't like too much. Like it wasn't so huge and like unnatural looking. It was just like just enough to give little galactic empress realness, honey. And what was Rue saying? He, like, you know how the judges make little quips like as the girls are walking the runway. She's like, Flash Gordon, you look like Flash Horton. And I was like, who the hell is Flash Gordon? And apparently it's a space adventure comic strip from 1935. Rue, I mean, I guess it's her show. She can make any reference she wants, but like, if I was on that show, I'd be getting raked across the coals for not knowing any references. Because not only do I not know modern ones, but I don't even know the olden ones. I'd be Miss Fame or whatever, being like, "How's your head?" And I'd be like, "Huh? What?" I don't know things, and it scares me when Rue makes references. But yeah, that's it for Anetra. And I think she gets like extra points because she made it. I think she made all her runways, but like, it was fine. It was good. Lux. This is gonna sound really mean, but I loved it again from far away. But then she got closer, and I was like, eh. Still amazing. I am being nitpicky because it's like the final four, and Lux has been like my runway queen of the season, so not hating. But like the garment had like, it was pretty wrinkled. I feel like it could have used like a little steamer moment. The big earrings kept getting like kind of caught as she walked, or like they would just be like resting on her shoulders but at a strange angle. And then the hairline was kind of the toughest part. Like the hair itself was cool, but the blending at the hairline was not good. And I think it probably was just the stage lighting, because like from far away it looked fine, and I think it was like blended properly. But when you have like such a bright light shining on your forehead, like the hair was kind of like braided, so it was like bare skin with braids, and you could kind of see like where her makeup ended, and then it didn't match like the skin tone here. It just looked a little sloppy. But I liked the hair overall, so I don't know. It wasn't Lux's strongest showing to me, but like at this point I'm considering the overall package, so like still really liked what she's brought. And then Sasha's was easily my favorite look of the night. It looked otherworldly. The gems, like, I don't know. I feel like you can tell when someone uses like slightly more expensive rhinestones, because the way they catch the light is like so different from some of the other things we've seen on stage. And I feel like Sasha also has like a good brand. Like if you just showed me that outfit, I'd be able to say like, oh, Sasha, that's Sasha's. I feel like with other girls, like this, Anetra kind of does that too, but Anetra also wears like a lot of cat suits. I don't know if that's the right word, but Anitras are maybe iconic because they all kind of look the same rather than a brand. But Sasha, like, she has like the flowers, like just stuff like that, where I just feel like she has a more developed brand than the other queens. And there's kind of like that through line in all her looks. So I really liked this. It had like her Hawaiian heritage kind of also mix and matched with like intergalactic stuff. Very cool. And the body is always correct, so points. And then Mistress, I felt like when I saw a picture, I was like, oh, this isn't my fave. But then when it moved, like, I feel like that's the selling point of this gown, because it had, again, like gemstones on it that caught the light, but it also had like little, what are those called? Like, I don't know, it just kind of like swayed, like fringes. So it was like, the movement on the gown was excellent. And of course, love Mistress's body. Like, she always gets the proportions correct. So I thought this was a really strong showing from her. My favorite Mistress look will always be the beach balls, but I realized this maybe isn't the time to go super camp. So I was like, yeah, this is very like Houston drag, very Mistress. Loved it. So all the girls had a good showing tonight. And I feel like this has been a really good season for, well, I was gonna say it's a really good season for runways, but then I thought about it more, and that's not true. It's just recently they've been really good. So anyway, so then we get to see the girlies start the music video, And I am immediately in heat because Anetra is starting, and she's in my favorite look of hers, which is like the bald cap spiky thing. I don't know what to call it, but very punk, very like step on me. And speaking of step on me, she opens her verse with like stomping on roaches, something something. Hey, it's me, roaches. It's me, your brother, roaches. What if you so sorry everybody. No, I'm not, or else I would edit it out. Her verse was overall very good, but it was a little basic. She hits like all the iconic things you would expect. Walking that duck, something something, eating all the girlies up. The verse, like, this isn't just an Anetra thing. They didn't have as many lines as I thought, so like you really couldn't say too much. So I kind of get like hit all the hits, get the walking the ducks in, get the whatever. But I was just like, yeah, that's about what I'd expect, and she rapped it. So it was just kind of like basic in that regard, but good. Love it. Next was Lux's verse, and like, I'm so bitter that like you gotta hate her because she napped, but she also popped off. She sang the beginning, which is like some people just rap, but Lux chose to sing the beginning, and it was really good. Like, she has a good voice. Curse you, Lux. She had good lyrics too, and the choreo, like you can see so much like confidence and power behind it. So even if what she's saying isn't like, I mean, what she's saying was good, but like the choreo also just carries it. It adds like another layer of like, oh, I believe that bitch when she says that she's confident and she can do the damn thing. Like, probably Lux's strongest showing, and I could have easily seen her, or like she's in the running for a win, I felt. And then Sasha, I think she had my favorite outfit and verse, but Lux's choreo was stronger. But Sasha, like, the way she wrote her verse and then rapped it fit very well with like the tempo of the song. You know, sometimes like you can hear that other girls had to be like sped up or edited to kind of make their lyrics flow like with the song, but Sasha's felt very like intentional and to the beat. And I feel like that's kind of just that extra level of like professional that Sasha is above like these other girls. And like the actual lyrics themselves are very good. Again, like they really didn't have that many lines, so like you couldn't get too crazy beyond the like, I am a queen coming for the crown. This is my brand. These other girls could never. I'm going to kill them. Like, it's kind of giving that every time, but like I get it. And then I love how she ends her verse. She does like the Megan Thee Stallion like bleh. Like, I do that all the time. It's the most like iconic way to confuse people on your intentions. You know, go to Starbucks, they're like, do you want oat milk? And you're like, eh. Like, is that yes? Is that no? I don't know. I use it when I'm anxious, and I don't know what I'd do without it. And then Mistress, I think was my least favorite. I think she kind of had that problem where I felt like her lyrics were like a little too fast or like her rapping was a little too fast for the song. It seemed like she was offbeat a bit. So that it sounded like they kind of edited her to match, but then it just sounds a little bit like distorted. And the choreo, like you could tell she was struggling a bit, but they're usually pretty generous in these videos, and if you were someone who was struggling, they just do a bunch of like quick edits. So you know, like the camera's always changing, so it doesn't focus on you flopping for too long. But I will say Mistress, like when she's allowed to freestyle, like not doing the choreo they gave her, but just like what Mistress wants to do, I think she looks the most natural, and she looks like she's having the most fun. Like some of the laugh out loud funny moments of the video were just Mistress like goofing off. So I really appreciate that about her. And yeah, I mean, I wonder what it would be like if she was allowed to make her own choreo. I get why maybe they don't do that, but it seems to be such a strength of hers. So like, I definitely want to give her credit for that. But overall, all the girlies ate. And this isn't my favorite Rupaul song, so like I feel like no matter what, the remix is gonna be, but I feel like the girls really brought it. as much as they could for this song. Where's Lucy? Okay, now for the judging. I feel like in these later episodes, it's really boring because they're super nice to everybody. Because I think they want it to be like, oh my god, anybody could win. This is still anybody's game. So they're just nice to everybody. Not everybody deserves niceness. It's fine. But then they start with Anetra and they compare her to Flash Gordon again. Stop it. Didn't ask, don't care. Get away from her. And they really don't have like anything exciting to say for her. I feel like Anetra's storyline is they're trying to force this weird thing like, look how much you've grown. Like, you used to be this shy little baby and now you're Anetra. And I'm like, is that true? She like won the talent show. Like, she started very strong. I just don't really get it. And I don't think, like, the narrative they're trying to push is almost like she used to only be confident in her Anetra character, but now she's like confident just as like in boy mode. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's true. I feel like Anetra's just as like soft-spoken and demure as she was at the beginning, and I don't think that's wrong either. Like, I kind of like the fact that she is this like crazy fierce drag queen when she's in that persona, but then just like out of it, it's like, yeah, it's just some dude, some quiet dude. Like, I love that. I don't know. So I don't really get the storyline they're trying to like assign to her. I don't feel like it fits, but hey, at this point you want a storyline, so like, I guess don't say no to that. Lux, moving on to Lux, she gets complimented on her taste. And again, I don't mean to sound like a hater, but like, if she's doing referential outfits, is that really her taste? Like, that's other people's taste. I don't know. Nothing. I won't harp on it. I guess it does take some amount of taste to know like what would look good on you and what's good to reference. I just like, I don't know. I feel bad for queens who can't just like afford to buy things. Yeah. And she gets credit for singing and rapping, which I think is deserved. They mention her choreo being really tight, which also super deserved. And then Ross is like, oh my god, you're so gay. If Ross Matthews said that to me, I would lose it. That feels like a hate crime coming from him. Like, what do you mean? No, Ross, tell me, what do you mean? I feel like Selena's got me fired up. Even though her and Ross are cool, I still have that residual energy of just like, yeah, get him. So maybe I'm coming at him too hard, but I'm just like, get a job, get away from her. And then Rue cannot stop talking about kids when she looks at Lux. It's really scary. Like, do you want to adopt Lux? Does Lux like awaken a primal like parental urge in you? Are you going to siphon her life? Like, what is this? What's happening? What am I watching? It's weird. Why do you only call Lux kid? Stop it. And then Sasha, I feel like they make a really big deal about her being older. Like, they say, oh, you're the eldest. I was like, she's 37. She's 37. I get, like, comparatively, she is the oldest, but, like, she's 37. Let's calm down. You know, you'd think the way they talked about her, she's, like, hobbling around the workroom with a cane, drinking prune juice and being racist at Thanksgiving. But no, she's just, like, a normal 37-year-old lady. And then Michelle iconically reveals how Sasha's Runway has made her want to have sex with an alien. I really feel that, Michelle. I felt the same way with Candy Muse's Beast Couture Runway. Like, the aliens out here do be aliening. And then Michelle's final comment, I feel like the judges are projecting a bit tonight because Michelle's like, Sasha didn't say a word, and Michelle's like, you know, you're so much more than your body. Like, your body will go away someday. And you've got to have something like once your body crumbles to dust, what's left? And Sasha's just like standing there like, okay, 37. How old do you guys think I am? Like, I feel like that was Michelle talking to Michelle. I was like, Michelle, you still look great, girl. But that was just like a funny moment. I was like, oh, okay, thank you very much for your input. Love it. And then I actually clipped this because I love the voice line so much and I just play it everywhere. But Rue, I feel like Rue was on drugs during this because like he does this whole thing to Sasha. I don't even remember what the conversation's about, but he's giving like accolades and he just like the camera cuts to him and he looks dead in the eye and he's just like, well done, mama.
Well done, mama.
And then like the camera lingers on it for like a little too long. Weirdest thing of my life, but that's now my favorite like reaction video to everything. Like me ordering a steak at Outback Steakhouse. Well done, mama. Iconic, iconic. Rue's unintentionally hilarious, but also intentionally hilarious. And then finally, Mistress. Kind of just like Michelle did, Ross is projecting a bit on Mistress and is just like, I'm glad you're never the butt of the joke, unlike me. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, go to therapy, get help. Mistress is literally just like, okay, anyway. So Ross, again, just like 0 for 20 with critiques this season. And then they mentioned kind of what I said, where it's like Mistress's freestyle was great, even if the choreo was rough. But they're still very gentle with her because it is like one of the final episodes. So then, you know, they're not tearing into her. They're just like, oh, it was a little tough. It's like, okay. And then I cackled. I scream laughed when Rue is like, they're talking about how Mistress is sassy, and Rue's like, you know what? You let a bitch know, but it's still fun. And I'm like, let's ask Miss Lucy LaDuca how she feels. Like, let's ask her therapy bills. I don't think it was very fun for her. And let me just preface, or I guess it's not a preface if I'm saying it after, but I'm going based off of what the show showed us. I don't know if the bullying actually existed or was that bad, but just like from what we've seen as the audience, like that is a hilarious comment. Because it looks like Mistress and Lux have been psychically assaulting Lucy all season and caused her to have a mental break with reality, resulting in her leaving. But Rue's like, I just love how you're so fun and upbeat and you can tease people without getting too real. And I was like, okay. And then Rue ends it, again, on something, completely on something. She just starts pointing. She's like, you're anointed, you're anointed, you're anointed. I had to look up what that word meant because I thought you had to be like anointed to something, like anointed to the position of bad bitch. But I guess it like in the way Rue used it, like it's used in like a holy sense, like you are God's chosen or something. Like I don't know, but like she was on something. She's like, remember that I said this day, you are all anointed. And I was like, okay, this is really scary. Let's get you to bed, Grandma. And everyone looked disturbed, so it seems like the vibe was as rancid there as it was at home. So I love that for all the queens. Hello. I'm fading quickly. I gotta get this done. I can't stop sneezing, but also I'm gonna take this moment. Look at this side profile. Yeah, you had no idea. You had no idea, and you could also never. But anyway, the next segment is Trauma Bait, where Rue shows you a childhood photo of yourself and wants you to trauma dump about it. I hate this segment. It rubs me the wrong way. And I feel like, I just hope that every contestant like kind of signs off on this, especially like, I mean, it could be triggering for anyone to see like a childhood photo, but especially like trans contestants, I feel like there's just so many layers of complication and just reasons not to do this, but we're doing it anyway. Because this is trash reality TV, but it's my trash reality TV. We start with Anetra and learn that her name is Isaiah. That is Mormon fantasy. Like, wow. I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. And that's really all I was able to process. This sounds really, really bad, but like, a lot of the girls look at the photos and say the same thing, which is like, your life's gonna get awful. You won't understand why. Everyone's going to abandon you, but you'll find your light, which is like empowering. But after 15 seasons, I feel like you could like have an AI generate this. Content idea, maybe I'll do that. AI generated trauma dumping. I'm so sorry. Where was I? No, but Anetra's was actually very sweet, and we move on to Lux, who I think like she started very positive, and I think she realized like, oh my god, I'm not serving drama. And she was like, you may be a star, but people are gonna try and keep you down, and they're gonna say horrible things, and that'll just make your star even brighter. And I was like, good save, girl. You know what this assignment is about. But I would honestly love someone who was just like, yeah, loved my childhood, loved my parents, supportive family, no changes. Like, that would be progress. But for now, we gotta exploit these damaged children. Sasha's was also very sad. I am surprised that she still has more, like, oof, she's had a lot to share. And I feel like hers are always very sad, but she also has like such an uplifting message generally, and you can really tell like she's worked through a lot of these tragedies and come out stronger, which is like really inspiring. Kind of hearing about how she's managed to do that and just kind of like how she lives her life. I feel like the more I hear Sasha talk, the more I fall in love with her, because she just really does like exude that kind of wisdom and maturity that the other queens lack to an extent. You know, it could just be the age, even though she is just 37. I have to remind myself that, but yeah, I don't know. I've enjoyed her speaking on issues like this. I feel like she always takes it seriously and has a good message. And then Mistress, I really have no notes besides the fact that her name's Israel. What's with all these biblical names? Where's biblically accurate Runway? That'd be slay. But yeah, this is a sad segment which I don't particularly enjoy, so I won't spend any more time there. So finally, after the judges' critiques, we see that Miss Sasha is the winner. I could have seen that going to Lux, but I think Sasha's like maturity and some of the non-challenge parts, like kind of sharing her story and the Tic Tac chit chat, were very strong, and I think that might have just pushed her over the edge of Lux. And then that does mean Mistress and Anetra are in the bottom. Again, maybe I'm so delusional, but like when Anetra's in the bottom, I'm like not even worried. I'm like, oh, Mistress, that sucks. But I was thinking like, oh god, maybe they'll do like a little Park and Bark song to try and like even it out between Mistress and Anetra, which is exactly what they do, because they lip sync to When Love Takes Over. And you know what? Anetra can't be stopped, because even though like, yeah, maybe she's known for her crazy dance moves and strutting and bucking and all that, she also has really good like emoting. And she, in addition to that, like her reveals, I feel like she has a really good sense of like the tempo of the song and like when to do things. She doesn't just like rip everything off at the start. She'll be like, okay, this is a really impactful beat, I'm gonna take off this thing here. And like her costume didn't even look like it was a reveal actually. So when she did it, it was like actually surprising, and it was at a very impactful moment. So I appreciated that. I did feel bad for Mistress, because she was like, this is a 60-pound gown that I'm trying to lip sync in, so totally understood that she was just kind of like, you know, parking and barking, not doing tons of splits or whatever. In Mistress's corner, I do really appreciate how like she knows the lyrics. Like some people you can tell like maybe know like every other word, but are still able to make it look like they're lip syncing the song for the most part. Mistress hits every single word, which is like honestly a rarity for this season, where I feel like we've seen so many queens like truly not know the words to things. So like I feel like that's probably Mistress's biggest strength when lip syncing, and I really enjoy like seeing her do songs like this, where it is less about like the stunts and more like connecting with the song emotionally and hitting every word. So it was like more evenly matched than I expected. I would still give it to Anetra, but we don't have to choose because it's a double Shantae. Who could have seen that coming? Absolutely everybody, because they edited this episode so weirdly, where they were like, I can't believe one of you has to go. Isn't that crazy? We've never done a top 3, or we haven't done a top 3 in so long, and now we're doing it. And one of you definitely has to go. Meh. But no, I feel like I saw this coming, so it was kind of like low drama when I was viewing it. I don't know. But I'm happy to see them both stay. But obviously, would have picked Anetra if you had a gun to my head. But that's kind of it for this episode. The next one is the reunion. I don't know what that'll be like to react to. Like, I'm not sure. It could be nothing, or it could be like, oh, pheromones iconic. You don't love me. Who would be doing that? I want to see like a sugar and spice fight. If I were them, I would come into the reunion pretending like we haven't spoken since the show, like estranged twins. That's a storyline. I should manage the twins, my daughters. Anyway, I really have nothing else to say for this episode. I'm excited for the finale. Make sure you like and subscribe and tell your friends that I cross-dress and sit alone in my room so they can come send me a death threat, and then YouTube will see that I get engagement and I can monetize myself.